Hello and welcome.
Okay, great. Hello, welcome to the Church of Mark. This is the first podcast we're doing since we've come back to the air, and we have a very special guest, Lacey Hill. Lacey's Oneida of Six Nations, Wolf Clan, correct? You used to play in a band called the Breeze Band, and that was nominated for different awards, Aboriginal People's Choice Awards, and then you launched your solo career. And then you did some recordings, and I'm familiar with the 528, I guess, album, based on the frequency, which is the frequency of love, I think, as you said it.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Oh, yeah, welcome to the show, and maybe elaborate on the 528 hertz, I guess it's called.
Mark, it's so good to be here, and it's so good to see you and your beautiful wife. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate it. 528, the album, oh man, that's a really thick album for me. Even though it comes with like 9 songs, it's really pretty much my heart and soul in exposing a broken heart, pretty much. That was dedicated to my partner who passed from cancer, and I helped as much as I could. And sometimes when you're called from creator, you got to go. So it was really hard, and like, it's a big sigh of relief, and I'm so thankful to live this life because it opened up a lot of things for me. It changed things for me,
right?
And I'll never be the same again. And that album is a huge staple in expressing my healing. It's pretty much my therapy, and it caught a lot of attention because of I guess like the theme, yes, and I guess the songs themselves really resonate with people who have lost somebody who they absolutely love and feeling grief in any way. My intention was to help heal myself, and song is medicine to me, and that helped me stay here and be here. And when I was able to release that, even though I was scared and all these things, had to put fear aside, because when you operate in fear, you miss out on a lot of things.
True.
And I didn't want that, so I just put it out there. I didn't care what anybody said. I didn't care. It was just wholeheartedly just something that I just wanted to share, and hopefully it would help somebody in their grief or in their sadness, or allow that space for them to cry, or and be okay. So it's very therapeutic for me, and I just pretty much just opened my heart to allow that energy to flow in song. And I believe that I'm a conduit, so I have these experiences that happen to me all the time that are very deep, so trying to translate those types of things into song is a gift, and I was able to do that with 528 Volume 2 M, and M is for my partner's name, Maggie. So 528 is, as we all know, we operate on a frequency level, and as musicians and people who totally vibe,
right?
You know what I mean? We get that. We
Absolutely.
Totally get that. So my theory would be, if we can operate at a series of a 528 frequency, that's where healing happens. That's where we can explore different ways of loving each other and supporting each other, especially in such a rotten time.
Right.
And it's just really beautiful, because when she passed, I was 32, and a lot of my friends didn't experience that kind of loss at that age, which is I'm so thankful for, because it's awful at any age.
Right.
But as a young person, it really put me in a place of like, life is way too short, stop fucking around kind of thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I finished that album and I quit my full-time job, and I've been writing music and singing and gigging and traveling all over the world since then.
Because we've seen you in a variety of different places over the last couple of years. I know with the pandemic, we couldn't get out much to any of the shows or conferences, but I believe you were both FAI's, Indigenous Music Summit, one in Montreal, and then in New Orleans, which was January 2020. And I think after that, that's when sort of travel had stopped for everyone, when they started shutting things down. And did you get, I guess, with attending these conferences, do you find that you make a lot of contacts and you build a lot of interest for the music?
You know what? Those conferences are something else. It really opens your eyes to all the possibilities that you never even know. There's people there from theater, from the industry, in all different aspects of it, and I think that's like the coolest thing about these things. Another cool thing is like the hippie in me, you know, just hearing all those rooms jamming all those nights with all kinds of like talent. It's ridiculously amazing to hear. Like I'm so satisfied when I leave there, because of all that awesome information, all the people that you meet, all the partying that you do.
Right, that's right.
You know what
There's
I mean?
There's a lot of partying too.
There's so much, and you know what? A lot of people I've found, and in my gigging and experience, I guess you could say, a lot of people get way more open after a few drinks. You know what I mean?
That's
like
right.
You could really know a person that by the end of the night travel into these things, you know,
Right.
and each room, and it's a hotel with floors, and each room is filled with just music to the tits, and it's just ridiculous. I've been so blessed to have amazing timing for all my showcases. The one in New Orleans, I was sick most of the time, so
I remember that.
Yes.
Right.
so I wasn't able to fully participate in all of the things
Right.
because
So we had
I
our
was
annual party that you were unable to make.
Oh my God. You don't even know how bad I felt, but I had to really focus my energy on the showcases, because I didn't really want to, you know, being a showcase and having good times, you know, you really don't want to fuck it up in any way.
No,
so
of
my
course.
energy was to make sure that I performed the best of my ability, and I believe that I did that. And it's really cool because like it wasn't just for the Indigenous Voices room that I was performing in.
Right.
You know, I was with Ontario Music, Folk Music Ontario, which is huge, and they give me a beautiful spot, and we nailed it, you know. And it's like, that's so cool. I love that, and I want to see more of that, and I want to be more involved in that. Maybe even planning a room myself in the future to, you know, bring up youth to these talented exploration places, you know what I mean, where they can showcase their abilities, but also to manage that kind of attention and energy, because if you go in there unprepared, it'll, you know, eat you up, spit you
Absolutely.
out, and don't care.
That's
you
right.
know what I mean?
And it
you
looks
can really,
unprofessional too. If
you look unprofessional, you know, there's like all these things. So that's another thing too that I really want to start focusing on, is connecting old artists with new artists and developing a mentorship in that sense. Now, with that being said, I'm currently doing this like pilot project with Capicoa. They selected, I think there's like 13 artists, but we're doing a pilot project that includes networking with New Zealand and Australia.
Oh, great.
So those types of conversations are happening, which is like, I'm super excited for, because you never know where these connections are going to lead you in the future, not just for me, but I'm looking beyond that to how Six Nations and other reserves in my area that I can influence can cultivate that talent and start sharing that internationally. So it's about developing it, seeking it out, but also making sure that those connections are already there so that when they're ready to go, they can just keep going. You know what I mean? There's no... I don't know, or, no, you have the support. And I think that's really important because as a female Six Nations artist, there's not very much resources there for support.
Okay.
So I was always told...
Is it more like financial support or also just knowledge, resources, how to contact different sort of managers or agents or studios?
It's all of it.
It's all of it.
It's all of it. And I think that comes from people that don't really have the confidence. So, and it's because we don't have confidence because we have all this trauma. So like all these things are all connected inside of us.
Right.
And if we don't come at it at a different angle, you know what I mean? I think it's going to stay the same and we're going to drive ourselves insane. So I think if there's intergenerational trauma, there's ways for intergenerational healing. And I think music is a big thing and connection is a big thing in that healing space. And that's what I want to focus on. And that's where 528 comes in again. So this is all why I have this concept and theory, because if we're not operating with the intention of being good, then get out of the way. Because there's so many people and so much talent there that want to manifest good things for ourselves, for each other, as together. You know what I mean? So it's really important that we're, from where I'm from, a lot of elders are like, you always should have a good heart and a good mind with whatever you do, whatever you decide, whatever actions, you know? So and that's really hard to do, especially when you have emotions. Right. And we all have emotions, so it's hard to operate with a good heart and a good mind when you're frustrated or let down or sad or angry or tired or hungry. Right. So it's important to know ourselves, and that's where confidence comes in. So if we break all these things down and we start building each other up from within and building ourselves up from within, I think that our connections are that much powerful, and we're that much more inclined to be definite conduits for this music, this change, this, you know, the feelings. Right. I know for me, I can only write from my own experience. And so I'm a conduit for that. And I'm open to that. And that's another thing that I do practice is affirmations. Right. Because I think talking to yourself is a big thing.
I talk to myself all the time.
Okay, but what are you saying? What are you saying to yourself?
All kinds of things.
That's where the healing also lies within yourself. Because I find, and I can only talk from my own experience, I was really negative when I was younger. Like thoughts, man. Like negative thoughts and I learned about, you know, universal laws. And the one that I came across was the law of attraction and how that works and how that really manifests good things in your life. So I tried it. I studied it. I watched the movie probably 10,000 times, and in between that movie you hear something new every time, and there's little in between reading between the lines types of gifts of messages that are there. So you really have to listen. Right. And so what I came down to the conclusion of, and this is where it's kind of all changed for me when we talk to ourselves and what we're saying to ourselves, and when it comes to confidence, because it's all linked in there. Absolutely. I found that affirmations, positive affirmations, how you talk to yourself helps with putting out your intention of what you want in your life. What is that thing? What is it combination of things that will make you happy? Right. Not things as in like, oh, that nice car or that house or whatever.
Those are superficial.
Like, I mean things as in inside of you, your integrity.
Right.
Your ability to troubleshoot something when you know something is wrong to make it right within yourself.
Right.
And then following through with that as an action and moving forward with that by not doing that again.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's this thing called 5-to-1, and it's a ratio.
Okay.
So if you like mess up or something, like in a relationship or a friendship or just as a person, they say it takes 5 good things to erase that one.
Okay, I should write that down.
5-to-1 ratio. You
Okay.
can Google that 5-to-1 ratio, and that theory will come up. But they talk about a lot in relationship. It's really awesome. So I tried this.
Okay.
Recently, and it's hard because I did one thing wrong. I'll do one thing right, and that should be karmically okay.
Sure, you try to bargain with the universe, and you're right.
I did that too. No, it don't work. It is 5-to-1. It is 5-to-1. That person feels if you mess up, you do 5 things, and it actually repairs things.
Okay.
It repairs the relationship, or it provides that sense of, oh, okay, they messed up, but now they're gonna try and fix it, and they're gonna try and fix it extra because they know how severe it is or whatever, right? So it's like taking that time to really consider those types of things. And that was just one thing in relationships that I find that works in a positive way and brings people together in more of creating these connections.
Right.
So when you have good relationships around you, because you have good relationships within yourself, your self-talk is positive, you got good affirmations, you're using the laws of the universe to be happy.
Right. You're working more for the benefit of the community rather than yourself and your own ego and your own sort of selfish pursuits.
Okay. Right. So the difference between ego...
Although it's okay to have selfish pursuits too. Sometimes, yes, absolutely.
It is. Because you ultimately want to be happy.
Right.
Because your happiness determines how you treat yourself. Ultimately, how you're going to treat other people.
Right.
So... yeah, you kind of need, this is where ego and spirit work together, because I know that ego is a thing, and it's a part of us. Now it's a part of us for a reason, because there's a balance. Mm-hmm. So it's about working with spirit side and your ego side to manifest your happiness, not necessarily what you think you might need as in the ego part.
Right.
And now the ego part really holds a lot of emotions and negative emotions. Mm-hmm. Jealousy, frustration, anger, grief, and Hate, that's a part, that's a part of us. But let me just give you an example. There is positive grief and negative grief. And here's an example. Negative grief is when, say, for instance, you had a friend that passed and you didn't treat that friend too good. And when they passed, you have all this regret within your grieving. I should have did this. I should have did that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you how to eliminate that right now. And this turns it into good grieving. Treat your friends good all the time. Mm-hmm. So you won't have negative grieving. You'll have positive grieving. I miss that friend. I miss treating them good. Right. I miss having that time with them in our conversations. I remember these types of things. And that's good grieving, because you miss them. Not bad grieving as in I shoulda, coulda, woulda type of thing. Hey, I'll tell you right now, if you don't want that kind of grief, start today. Start treating your family and friends good all the time, and do the best that you can.
Right.
Do the best that you can every chance that you get. My grandfather said, I came home because I was like a really avid baseball player. I was a pitcher for many years. I actually won Female Athlete of the Year in college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was a athlete at one point. But I said, oh man, like I messed up, lost the game, not to mention there's a lot of times where I won the game, but I was really down and hard on myself when I took it upon my responsibility that it was like we should have won that, but because like as a pitcher you have a lot of control.
Right.
So, and I was a wicked pitcher, so because my grandmother was a pitcher.
Oh.
Yeah, so
okay.
there's like a generational thing. Anyways, he was like, well, did you do the best that you could do? And I said, yeah. And he's like, well, then you shouldn't feel bad about anything. But if you feel bad, you have to figure out why you feel bad. So you have to ask yourself, did you do the best that you could? So ask yourself again. And I remember there was a moment there where I was frustrated and I just kind of give up, you know? And I was like, you know what? I could have done better. He's like, well, that's why you feel like that, because you could have done better, but you didn't.
Right.
You failed in that moment.
Right.
You gave up because of your frustration.
Right. And it takes a certain level of self-awareness and deep introspection to kind of get to that point. And a lot of people don't seem to spend the time on that aspect of themselves to try to improve what they're trying to do.
Yeah. So this comes back to the grieving part. So it's about doing the best that you can.
Right.
And if there's a moment where you feel like giving up, don't. Because when you do, you fail in that sense.
Right.
You're letting your team down, you're letting yourself down, and then afterwards you feel like this. You feel bad about it because you didn't do the best that you can. There was that moment. And that changed me. That changed me in that sense. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do the best that I can every single time, whether it's on the field or not. And that, I think that's the energy in why I'm able to be here to talk about these things and able to share music, and people listen and they like it. So
and it looks like you take the same philosophy in the creation of your art, whether you're performing or you're writing new songs. And I get the sense that you're more it's more spiritual, metaphysical, you're writing, as opposed to sitting at a piano or with a guitar and then with a pad and paper, and I need to write 4 lines, and these lines are going to rhyme, and then...
Hey, you know what? There's that too, though.
There's that too. No, absolutely.
There's like, I am definitely not closed off by any kind of creativity avenue.
Right.
Per se. I think that's another thing of my sexuality too. I just love everyone.
Well,
there's no boundaries.
Right.
There's no limitations of creativity or to love.
Right.
There's nothing there.
Well, especially I think for artists and just if you're in the creative field, no matter what you're doing, is that you can't kind of put yourself into these boxes or into these boundaries, because then the art that you're going to create or whatever you're going to create is somewhat stale and lacks different dimensions that will sort of connect with other people. Yeah,
and that's where the magic happens.
Right,
where you can see something or hear something and it physically does something to you inside.
Right.
It gives you goosebumps.
Right.
It makes you feel sick. You know what I mean? Like we have to really come back to what our bodies are telling us, because a lot of times we tell our bodies what to do.
Yes.
And sometimes it's really good, and I think that's the magic of art and magic of music, is that no matter what you're going through, your body physically reacts to something good or something bad, whatever it is. Right. So it's the intention that we have behind our art and our music and our creativity.
Right.
And I think that's a huge piece. If that part is missing, it's not complete.
No, right.
And you won't get the effect that you're looking for, right? And this is where ego comes in, right?
That's right.
So like, I'll do all this stuff, I'll do all this, and then like, internally spiritually I need this thing, and they're not there. But I'm gonna do it because I need something now. I need this, I need that, I need to rush this, I need to rush that. Because I need money, or I need this, I need to live, which is totally fine. But to stress yourself out to that point.
Yeah, no, it's
is not the
it's
effect
not productive. That's right.
that you want to put off, and that comes through in your music, or your art, or your creativity, your rushness, and some things just if you just let them go. I've written It's You, Babe in 15 minutes. One morning I got it, and it was all there, and it was there. Boom, done on a ukulele.
Right. Oh, ukulele, okay.
Boom, present, happy. Like, here you got to this day.
Right.
Creator, here, have a present. Thank you, Creator. I'll take it. 15 minutes, and I love that song.
So how often do you find yourself writing new material? Is it something you do once a month, or is it like a daily process you try to get into? Or
well, I like to think that it's a daily process because I need these experience on a daily basis in order to write these things.
Right.
And this third album is complete.
Right.
I've all the songs are written for them.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of just getting ready to go in and finish it up for the album.
And what can people expect from that record? Similar to what you've been releasing, or is this a totally different direction? Or are you doing any sort of, experimenting?
Well, there is some things coming in the future that's not going to be a part of this album, but I'm really into like the boots, cats, type of dance, club and kind of boots and cats hit. So I've been actually dabbling in those types of things, that genre, tech, trap, house type of things.
Okay.
Recently, I was just working with, do you know LOL?
Yes, LAL.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just live in the neighborhood, just around the corner of
Unit 2 on Sterling. Yeah.
Right.
Rosina and Nick, I've been friends with for a few years now, and I've always wanted to work with them. And,
they're fantastic.
Oh, my God. So we've been kind of like stirring up some stuff. So that's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan. So being able to work with them is always a gift. And I think we might be able to, maybe in the future have some releases for that kind of music genre area.
Well, that would be awesome.
Personally, I just wanted a hit for the summer that I could like really jam out to,
right, of course.
Because I know what I like.
That's right.
So, there's that, and there's also some theater things coming through as well. So, Dear Woman, I've been traveling around with them. Article 11 is based out of Calgary.
Right. It's Andy and Tara. Right.
Yeah, and they're phenomenal.
Absolutely.
I have composed 2 songs for their production, Dear Woman, that has been to Australia, New Zealand.
Right.
And
you've been to Australia a couple times.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Once opening for Cher, from what I read somewhere. Right.
Okay. I didn't open for her. I wish I could officially say that.
Okay.
But I was the first person to perform to open the Mardi Gras, and she was the last. So we were kind of like bookends.
Sure, bookends. That's right.
But Adrian Stimson was there, and he was like getting us drinks by the bar at the MVP tent because we all got these passes because I performed.
Right.
And he totally ran into her, and they had a conversation. Totally like just had this energy transfer, and then he's seen her on the plane as well. So it was like really awesome that Adrian was there to celebrate with us, and Cher was there, and it was such a great party. And man, I love the mob over there. And you know what, the most interesting part of New Zealand, the Maori people and the Australians, is that we have the same friggin' colonizers. So we have dark humor that we get.
Right.
Because we've been through the same kind of trauma and tragedy. It's kind of bonding us in a way. So, which is kind of messed up, because how can something so negative turn out to be so kind of positive on that side of history? You know what I mean? Where it brings us together, that trauma brings us together, and that healing brings us together.
That's part of our resilience, I think, is through the humor and being able to share these sort of stories and find sort of common connection. Yeah.
Man, we have such dark humor, and I think that's why a lot of people don't like us. But we need that to be for survival. We need that, and the people that go through it get it.
Right.
So I have a lot of mob over there in Australia, and I can't wait to get back over there again. And I think that they're doing like a First Nations festival for their Mardi Gras that's coming up in 23.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to be over there for that.
Yeah, I have to
that'd
get
be
back there as well. I haven't been there in years, but I was in Melbourne. I loved the city, a lot of good eats, a lot of good entertainment, a lot of great live local bands and artists and stuff as well in music.
Oh
so
man, it's so great over there. I miss them over there. Did a lot of work with Mughalen Arts there. It's a theater company, and they're awesome there. They do a lot of indigenous things and playwright and storytelling, and it's just, they're amazing over there. So I've done a lot of work with them. Just recently, though, I've been asked by Kapakoa to do this like artist exchange networking kind of thing with the Australians and New Zealanders. So
great.
That's friggin' awesome because they handpicked artists and I was one of them. So I'm super honored to have that pilot project kind of have these discussions going on to create these pathways so that we can develop these kind of relationships so that we can start to work together and bring other people in. And
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's really getting geared up to move forward in the next, like, what does this look like post pandemic?
Right.
What are we looking for? What do artists need? So we're having like those types of discussions, like what the future holds, I guess, for international Indigenous artists. So it's a super awesome group of people, and I'm so honored to be there. A lot of people, so a lot of work needs to be done because there's a couple people that I know, but a lot that I don't know, and they don't know me either. Like, who am I? So these conversations are really important, and I think that it's one of the post-pandemic solutions to moving forward is having these types of conversations. Absolutely. So we can be prepared for what needs to happen. Now, with that being said, this pandemic has really opened up a lot of things for people. Mm-hmm. Musicians that have been musicians for years, not doing anything. New musicians coming about because they took the time to build their confidence in order to share. So we're seeing a lot of new artists come out. Right. So it's about how we can cultivate everyone in a good way rather than, there's new artists, let's just bring in those guys and forget these old guys. And like, it's a wave. No, it's a wave together.
That's sort of the challenge.
Yeah.
Because there's certain ageism that exists in the music business and in the entertainment business. Yeah. Once you get to a certain age, no one's interested in you anymore. Yeah. But also with all the new emerging artists, all these new artists, they also, they're not necessarily having it easy as well. There's so many different challenges that they're having. What are some of the challenges that you see these younger artists are having?
Mental health. Mental health is a huge thing.
Absolutely.
How you're dealing with your mental health. How are you coping? Is it with drugs? Is it with alcohol? Is it by hurting people and hurting yourself? I want to know what an individual needs to move forward in their gift in a healthy way. Because I've seen a lot of people in the industry have a lot of mental health issues and deal with it in a not good coping mechanism way. You know what I mean? Turning to...
especially in this business, there's all this free sort of, alcohol and drugs offered to you at different... opportunities or venues or performances or whatever that you're doing. So there's always that temptation.
There is. And you know what? I think that's a way of creator giving you these tests, whether to provide you, are you ready? Are you ready for this? So I think right now, for me personally, and I can only talk about what I'm feeling in my experiences. Personally, I feel my own mental health has been rocky. So I'm doing a lot of things for myself to make sure that like I'm okay and that I'm ready for this next step when things open up and that I'm confident in these temptations and they could be in anything. One example, I was talking to a friend. They're like, I had this gig and it was like on my dream list of singing there, and they asked all the COVID questions, and I had a split second of saying, no, I don't have all these things. I'm okay. but she did. And so she went with, no, I can't do it. And that is a test of integrity, because she could have been like, oh no, I'm fine, I'll go there. It's on my on my dream list to perform here.
Right.
I don't care, I'm gonna go. But no, she didn't. She took that time to just be like, man, I really want to say, but no, I have these symptoms, and I don't want to put people in jeopardy just because it's on my, and these things happen. And this is just one more example. It doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol.
Right.
It comes in with an integrity. Mm-hmm. And that sometimes you get tested whether or not you can handle these things. So for me, it's about taking these youth, getting them that positive confidence that they need, so that when they're coming to these kinds of decisions that are hard and that test your integrity and your good heart and your good mind, that they're strong enough to make those good decisions and keep on that right path, and being the conduit of their gifts, and being the conduit of allowing themselves to give the way that they're supposed to give. Because if they're, not balanced, it shows.
Right.
It shows.
Absolutely.
And for me, I don't know whether it's getting older or just having the experience, but you know who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with.
Absolutely.
So it's about being confident in that.
Right.
And being confident and being like, man, I don't need to work with everyone.
That's right.
I can choose and hand pick who I would like to work with, because I like the way they made me feel. They've never, done anything. They're having good integrity, good heart. I've seen it.
Do I get that? So I'm just talking to our producer because the doorbell was ringing. Could be. Just stop it for a second. Sorry. And what was the last thing we left off?
I think it was just the youth and how to prepare them for the future, but also like I'm just explaining what I'm doing to prepare myself for these things, because I get tested all the time.
Right.
And it's not easy, but it's definitely something that you can navigate. Sometimes it takes time to find how to respond in a good way, or how to ask in a good way, and how to react in a good way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like all these things, because it's easy to be an asshole.
It is.
It's easy.
There's so many people that are assholes.
It's so freaking easy.
Just go on the internet.
It's so friggin' easy. That's why there's so many. That's why there's so many, because it's the easiest way out. It's hard to find, because you have to do things. Exactly.
You got to put work into not being an asshole and to be a productive member of the community. But a lot of people, they don't want to put in the work. It's easier to turn the other way and not help or get involved, right?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are like that, and that's fine. But the way that I like to live my life is the other way, and I've had such amazing experiences, and I've met so many amazing people in my life, and I'm just so grateful to have that kind of positive vibes, that positive energy, you know, because I think it comes out through music. It comes out and off and on the stage. You are being watched.
Right.
And so do your best, do the best that you can, do the best that you can all the time.
And is that your advice for the new sort of emerging artists coming up in the world, or do you have
I'll give you basic.
Okay,
because that's like my grandfather, and that comes with like doing the best you can. There's levels to that lesson, but the one I'll tell you advice that my mom gives all the time, and it works, and it's so basic, so you can do it. Just stand up straight and smile. That's what she says to me I'm like, how does this look? How does it, like, I'll be nervous about something because I have no style. I have no sense of design or color. So I have to ask people, like, hey, do I look okay? Because, like, that's not my forte.
Right. Hey, I always wear black shirts, so.
And she's just like, it doesn't matter what you wear, Lace, as long as you're standing up straight and you're smiling. That's all that matters. And I'm like, okay, all my life. So now that plays in my head. So if you're nervous, if you're like scared, if you're just put all that to the side, just stand up straight, put your shoulders back, lift your head up high and smile.
Well,
no
awesome.
one will ever know what you're going through on the inside or what you've been through or whatever. You ain't showing that. You ain't showing your hurt. You ain't showing nothing but the best that you can do, right? And when you're doing the best that you can do, you could stand up straight and smile. That's
Absolutely.
The best.
Well, that's great.
Best. So that's basic. That's basic, and that will get you so far in life. I'm telling you.
That is so awesome.
It's so good. So
it's been a while since we've actually heard you sing and play. So if you wouldn't mind, entertaining us with a song, maybe if you want to let us set up the song, what it's. Do you know what song you're going to sing?
Well, we can do. I'm
It can
ready.
be new or old.
I can do new.
Okay,
I can
let's do something new.
Semi-new, semi-old.
Okay.
I can do whatever. It sucks. It's only one song, but I guess it's.
Well, let's see how many we can get in.
Okay.
Okay. So, you have a. Do you want to set up maybe the titles of the song? Is this so?
This one's called "Love Wins," and
Love
it
Wins,
is
okay.
Original composition that is for Dear Woman.
Okay.
The Article 11 production. With that being said, I totally became a stage manager for that show. They taught me to call a show.
Right.
And that show won Best Moments in Edinburgh. And they only
Fantastic.
give you 20 awards.
Oh my
Of
goodness!
Best
Wow.
And there's 5,000 shows that are playing there.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm very proud of that, and I'm very proud to share this song with you because love does win every time, and so yeah. I can sing that one.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, we'll switch over to the live set. Here we go.
This is Love Wins. Sunrise, can you feel the warmth upon your skin? Close your eyes. Can you feel the wind? She's got your back. It's amazing to feel like that. Love wins when you're right by my side. Love wins when I got my ride or die. Together we're tied. It's amazing to feel like that. Side. Love wins when I got my ride or die. Together we're tied. It's amazing to feel like that. Love wins. Love wins. Love wins. Love wins.
Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
You can just might as well continue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
All right. Okay, so this one's called The Love Letter. In my video, I see these two people that are just like, the love is there, but they miss each other just going around the corner or just going down that one aisle while the other one goes down that other aisle. You know, like they're in the bathroom 1 second, one comes out, one walks in, right, just when they just miss each other, kind of thing. So this is my plan for the music video. So if there's anybody out there that likes this idea, get at me. We can make this video. It hasn't been done yet, and it's a new song, so there's potential there to work on some things. And I hope you like it. Did I blow my cover, hiding my feelings for you? I know that you're healing, feelings that you're feeling. Well, I am too, but I feel so blue without you. Without you, I'm so grateful when I say your name. Love goes through my veins. And when I'm lonely and I think of you, when I go you're my one and only. I'm not so funny without you, baby. You humble me inside. You make me feel alright all night. I got these feelings for you. 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 Got these feelings for you.
Awesome. You have one more?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
All right. I wrote this in Banff. I was there for a residency.
It's awesome there in Banff.
Yeah. I just shout out to Banff, man. Like, for real. And I was in a cabin in the woods. And this cabin was me and my guitar for like a month. And I kind of went crazy there. I kind of went crazy in the mountains in Banff, in that little cabin, just me going nuts. And I think sometimes we have to break down and get a little loose for things to move. And the next day, it was a full moon. And maybe I was just crazy because of the moon, because I'm very heavily energetically, modified when it comes to the moon. It really shifts me. And anyways, I wrote this and it's called The Moon. Try to fight it, try to fight with all your might. Night creeps in with the dimness of a light, 'cause the moon
keeps on calling. Hey, you will be falling. You'll be asleep in my arms in a matter of time. Give me weight, lay right on top of mine. I'll take your worries, give you some peace of mind. You'll be asleep in my arms in a matter of time. Cause the moon keeps on calling, and you will be falling. You'll be asleep in my arms. You'll be asleep in my arms. You'll be asleep in my arms in a matter of time.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And we will, we'll catch up with you when you return, I guess, from your trip and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. See you then. Thank you so much.
Thank you.